Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have Back in Time. For a second, to start off with, we are going to take a step out of this ongoing trial and talk about something that happened back in 2009. During this time, Amber Heard was actually arrested and charged with hitting her then partner Tazia Van Ree. In the end, the charges were dropped, but this isn't where the lie comes in. The pair tried to claim that the only reason Heard was arrested was because the arresting police officer had realized that they were partners, not friends, and that the arrest motive was homophobia and prejudice. It was later found out that the officer who had arrested Heard was in fact part of the LGBTQIA+ community herself, and was actually an advocate and person who fought for equal rights. The officer spoke out after this entire ordeal, saying that despite these claims against her, she arrested Amber because an assault occurred and that she was the one who witnessed it in the first place. In our number 9 spot today, we have the bed. This is an incident that we had definitely heard stories of prior to this currently ongoing trial, but during the trial we heard it spoken about more in depth. Basically, Johnny and Amber had an argument, after which Depp had left to give some space. This is when it is said that Johnny's housekeeper sent him a photo of a less than pleasant surprise that she unfortunately was left to deal with. This horrible surprise turned out to be that someone had left fecal matter in the bed that the two had shared together. Depp told the courtroom in reference to the incident that, quote, "My initial response to that was, I laughed." He then went on to say, quote, "It was so outside, it was so bizarre and so grotesque that I could only laugh." He then goes on to explain that Amber had actually tried to lie about the incident, and in the 2020 trial, which we'll talk more about, she denied doing this. Amber is said to have tried to blame this mess on their dogs, but during this trial, Johnny has explained that the dogs they had were teacup Yorkies, about 4 pounds each. He certainly knows what their mess would look like, and according to Johnny, what was on the bed was not it. In our number 8 spot today, we have the makeup kit. During this currently ongoing trial, Amber Heard's lawyer showed the jury a makeup palette as part of their evidence. The makeup palette in question was Milani's all-in-one correcting kit, and the reason it was introduced into the trial is because it was stated that Amber used this specific product during her marriage in order to cover the bruises that she claims he gave her. Since this statement was made in court, Milani Cosmetics has actually come forward in the form of a TikTok to refute that evidence. The TikTok posted by the brand pointed out that this specified product was in fact not even released until 2017, which would contradict the evidence. This is because the alleged that this product was said to be covering up is said to have taken place between 2012 and 2016, which is obviously before the product was introduced to the market. It is possible that the lawyer may have just been pointing out this product as an example of the type of product she used, but it was definitely not this product as they seem to have claimed. In our number 7 spot today, we have Australia. So this is a claim that Amber made about a time that her and Johnny were in Australia together. Amber claimed that during this time she was held like a hostage for 3 days, and during these days she said she came to harm multiple times. Despite these very serious allegations, it later came to light that during this hostage situation she claims to have been in, she not only had her cell phone, but also there was security just outside of the door. She testified that she could have called anybody to come and get her at any point if she wanted to, despite previously saying those very serious things that she had mentioned prior. It is said that Amber claimed that on the second day of this 3-day hostage situation, which would have been March 7th, she endured a series of hours-long assaults. But despite these claims, on that day there were several people at the house speaking with both of them, including medical professionals who of course recorded no such findings. In our number 6 spot today, we have the recording. During trial, Amber claimed that she only hit Johnny Depp once and that she did so in defense of her sister. It is said that this alleged incident occurred in March of 2015, which is after the Australia incident we just spoke about. So during trial, there has been a series of audio recordings that have been submitted as evidence. Many of these recordings were taken by both parties consensually, and this is said to have been a regular occurrence in their relationship. On one of these recordings, which was taken in September of 2015, Amber clearly admits to hitting Johnny, which is of course contrary to her statement saying she only hit him once in defense of her sister. Of course, Amber's sister Whitney was asked about this event, and Whitney backed up the claims made by Amber. This was again refuted by a declaration made by Whitney's best friend and former employer, Jennifer Howell, who claimed that at the time when this incident is said to have occurred, that Whitney had actually told her that Amber was abusing Johnny, and that she feared Amber would kill him. Jennifer also stated that Whitney had actually moved in with her at one point because she was so afraid of her own sister. In our number 5 spot today, we have the December 2015 claims. Back in December of 2015, Amber claimed that she suffered 2 black eyes, a broken nose, broken lip, bruised ribs, bruises on her forearms, bruises in her hairline, scalp, and chin, missing hair, and wounds that had pus in them. These are obviously some serious injuries, and on the 17th, just days later, it is said that she saw 2 separate nurses who gave her physical examinations. During both of these exams, neither nurse found any bruise, either fresh or healing. One of the 2 found a bleeding lip, but the nurse's notes claimed that the skin was intact, it was a normal color, and there was no sort of concussion. These medical notes obviously paint quite a different picture from the extensive injuries she claims to have received. In our number 4 spot today, we have the Psychologist. Just a few days ago during the trial, we heard a forensic psychologist testify named Dr. Shannon Curry, who was hired by Depp's legal team. During this testimony, she claimed that Amber Heard suffers from borderline personality disorder as well as histrionic personality disorder. Dr. Curry is said to have reached this diagnosis after interviewing Heard for 12 hours as well as after reviewing her mental health records. Now, while there's certainly nothing wrong with this diagnosis, this is where Dr. Curry's testimony brings up something that is in contrast to what Heard had previously claimed. Amber is said to have claimed to suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, as a result of the things that she endured over the course of her relationship with Johnny Depp. Dr. Curry, however, directly contradicted this in her testimony, where she claimed that Heard in fact does not suffer from PTSD. It is thought that Depp's team hopes that this testimony may help their contention that Heard was the aggressor during the couple's relationship. In our number 3 spot today, we have the story. This entire list is full of really serious things and really serious accusations, and this one is certainly high up on the list of the most serious things we're talking about today. This is actually something that came out in court during the trial that took place in 2020. During this trial, Amber Heard's former assistant Kate James came forward to tell quite a terrible tale. James explained that years ago, when she was in her 20s, she experienced a horrible sexual assault that has haunted her ever since. It's already a terrible story, but was even furthered when Kate explained, quote, "To my utter shock and dismay, I discovered that Miss Heard had in fact stolen my sexual violence conversation with her and twisted it into her own story to benefit herself. This of course caused me extreme distress and outraged that she would dare to attempt to use the most harrowing experience of my life as her own narrative." It was during this trial that Kate explained that although she had been subpoenaed to give evidence, she was doing so because she is, quote, "a sexual violence survivor, and it's very serious to take that stance if you are not one." This was the trial that Depp had brought forth against The Sun for publishing the op-ed written by Heard, and it was at that moment during the trial that the lawyer representing The Sun discontinued their cross-examination of Kate. In our number 2 spot today, we have the LAPD testimony. Just a few days in court, we saw Los Angeles police officer Melissa Sain's testimony. This officer had been one of those who responded on May 21st, 2016 to Amber's penthouse after there was a call regarding DV. The officer testified that when she arrived at the scene, she found Amber crying and that her face was flushed red with emotion, but she explained that she didn't necessarily see any injuries. During the video deposition, the officer explained that, quote, "We met with the victim, we checked the location, the husband wasn't there, and that the victim advised us that she had just had an argument, and that she wasn't going to give us any further information. And because we didn't identify a crime, we issued her a business card, let her know that she could reach out to us later if she changed her mind and wanted to cooperate." It was just later that month, after this 2016 incident, that Heard filed a restraining order against Depp, accusing him of being violent towards her. In our number 1 spot today, we have the settlement. It is said that on multiple occasions, Amber claimed that the fund she received from her divorce settlements were funds that she would entirely be donating to charity. She is said to have claimed this on TV, in various newspaper articles, and even on court statements that were signed under oath. This was directly disproven, however, as that simply is just not true. Of course, being caught in this lie, especially one she spoke about while under oath, she was questioned about it. Amber claimed that she was unable to fulfill her pledge because of the fact that she had to defend herself in court in this defamation lawsuit, but again, this was able to be disproven. The money that was donated is said to have been done so in increments, with the last payment being in February of 2018. Johnny Depp did not sue Amber until 2019, marking the discontinuation of these payments at a time before she was being sued by Depp. At this point, it is unclear if she initially lied about her intentions and the amount she was going to donate, or if she was just lying about the reason why she stopped the payments.
A former TMZ employee was called to the stand on the second to last day of the Johnny Depp vs. Amber Heard trial and exposed a huge secret about Amber Heard tipping off the publication, even admitting that Amber arranged for them to snap photos of her bruised face. Let's get into all the details. Morgan Tremaine, a former field assignment manager with TMZ, said he arranged for photographers to show up at an LA courtroom in May of 2016 because they were tipped off that Amber Heard would be filing for divorce from Johnny Depp that day. It was even arranged that on her way out of the courtroom, Amber Heard would quote, stop and turn and display her bruise when she got her restraining order against Johnny Depp, so the paparazzi could get the best shot of her face for their story. Tremaine said, quote, the objective was to capture her leaving the courthouse, and she was going to stop and turn to the camera and display the bruise. Tremaine did not reveal if Amber Heard was the person who directly sent in the tip or not, but since the tip was accurate and Amber was at the courthouse that day, it was obvious it was sent by someone on Amber Heard's team. Previously, Heard was pressed by Depp's lawyers about tipping off TMZ about her divorce, but she denied it, even though she seemed to admit it in a recorded deposition that took place in 2016. Depp's lawyers also claimed that Amber Heard leaked TMZ the video footage of Depp smashing up their kitchen. The TMZ employees stated that they got that video sent into their tip email, and since they were given the rights over the video, they were able to publish it on their site very quickly. Tremaine also said that the video that was sent to TMZ was shorter than what was seen in court, and the beginning and end of the video featuring Amber were not shown in the TMZ video. During the cross-examination, one of Heard's lawyers asked if Tremaine was only given evidence to quote, get his 15 minutes of fame. He replied that he stood to gain nothing from this, adding quote, I'm putting myself in the target of TMZ, a very litigious organization. I could say the same thing as taking Amber Heard as a client. I find that to be purely logical. Later that day during the trial, a forensic photo expert testifying for Depp stated that the photo evidence of Amber Heard's injuries were most likely doctored. The expert, Brian Neumeister, said that many of the photos showing Heard's injuries had been through an editing program. When looking at the metadata of the photos went through Apple editing software called Photos 1.5 or Photos 3.0. Neumeister said, quote, this could not come out of an iPhone. It would only go into a computer and be edited. In a photo editing app, you can do a lot of things. He even concluded that the photos were not anywhere near an original. So that is all for the story today. Are you surprised by this testimony, or did you see this coming from what Johnny Depp's lawyers were saying earlier? Because Amber Heard was pressed on this topic a few weeks ago, with Depp's lawyers claiming or insinuating that she did tip off TMZ, gave them the video and the ability to take photos of her bruises, and this man basically confirmed it. So I wonder what kind of an impact this is going to have on the jury.
The talk of the town right now is Johnny Depp's apparent win over Amber Heard in the trial when she was found responsible for all 3 counts of defamation, owing a total of $10.35 million to Depp, after the requested $5 million in punitive damages had to be lowered to the state of Virginia's cap of $350,000. As with most court matters, this one was determined by the anonymous jury. So will we ever know just how exactly they came to this unanimous decision? Well, apparently we might, as one anonymous person took to TikTok claiming to have been a juror on the case. They made a few different TikTok posts sharing their experience and answering the numerous questions that commenters were desperate to get an answer to. He said he didn't really follow pop culture much, so wasn't a fan or on the side of either Johnny Depp nor Amber Heard. So he felt that he was able to remain pretty unbiased going into the trial, an important factor when being selected for a jury, especially on a case as high profile as this one. While watching, all viewers were able to see that Amber Heard constantly looked over to the jury when answering her questions, probably trying to garner sympathy or come off as more truthful by making eye contact. The user explained that this action had made him extremely uncomfortable. He said he had even stopped looking at her when she answered questions, saying that the entire time Amber Heard was testifying, it just felt off. He also said that everything she said just came off as seeming untruthful, though he used a much harsher word at the end there. He apparently didn't follow TikTok or social media during the trial and was surprised to see that so many people had agreed with his feelings, seeing just how weird her behavior had been, even calling Amber a crazy woman. One commenter asked a question that was on a lot of people's minds: had the jury jury broken the rules and gained influences from outside sources like social media. The accusation had come from Heard's lawyer live in court. The juror responded by saying that he felt that Amber Heard was gaslighting everyone in the courtroom, trying to take her own personal truths to the grave and not be found out for lying, saying that he felt the accusation was a smear campaign from Heard's team to try and save face and make themselves look better, trying to preserve their dignity. Another user asked why the jury had come to the decision to award $2 million in compensatory damages for winning one of her counts of defamation. He said it was for a few reasons. Amber was suing Johnny for defamation as well because of statements that had been made by his lawyers that she had set up the apartment to look in worse condition. Because whether or not she actually did this can't be proven, it can be proven as having potentially defamed her. Finally, someone asked the following question: what would you say was the moment that you were like, nope, if she's lying about this, she's lying about everything? A good question, as many people are wondering just what the turning point or turning points were for the jury to come to their decision about Amber's statement and lies. He replied with, I would say the donation/pledge to charity. This in reference to the statement Amber had made to the court saying that she donated her $7 million divorce settlement from Depp to two separate charities. However, under oath, Heard admitted that this wasn't actually true, saying that she used the word pledge and donation synonymously. The ACLU says that she has only actually donated less than half of what she had pledged. So for at least one juror, that lie was enough to convince him that everything Amber was saying could not be trusted. It may be a while before we hear from anyone else, as jurors' names are kept hidden until a year after the trial. However, they are allowed to come forward and identify themselves before then if they wish, as this user apparently did.
Amber Heard was cross-examined for the first time yesterday, and a shocking secret was finally exposed that could land Amber Heard in jail for perjury. I'm Mackenzie, and let's get into all the juicy details. While being cross-examined about her $3.5 million ACLU pledge, Heard was finally forced to admit that she did not donate anywhere close to the amount that she pledged she was going to years ago, and now she could be in trouble for lying under oath. After the couple divorced in 2016, Heard said that she would split the $7 million divorce settlement between the Children's Hospital LA and the American Civil Liberties Union, or ACLU, which would be about $3.5 million to each. At the time, she said she didn't want the money, rather she just wanted justice for Johnny's horrible actions towards her. But now that she's admitted to lying, legal experts claim she is in trouble. During her testimony, she stated that she has not donated the money yet because, quote, Johnny sued me for $50 million in March of 2019. However, Depp's lawyer Camille Vasquez argued that Heard had the money for months before the lawsuit, yet failed to donate the money as she promised. To make matters worse, during the UK libel trial, Amber Heard gave completely different testimony and did not admit to donating the money. Sean Caulfield, partner at law firm Hodge, Jones & Allen, told Mail Online today that Heard could face a perjury probe in the UK as misleading a court, quote, cuts to the core of our justice system. He also added police could in fact investigate these claims, continuing, quote, while it may not be a central issue to the case, the donations, perjury is the single biggest threat and cuts to the core of our justice system, so the police may be invited to investigate to show that any member of the public who lies to the court can be prosecuted for perjury. Clearly, in the grand scheme, this lie does little to answer the question of if Johnny Depp ever got physical with Amber, but it clearly helps Depp's side argue that she is a documented liar, and if she lied about the donations, she could lie about a lot more. Legal expert Mark Stevens also said police could blame the lie on not understanding the question asked rather than deliberately not telling the truth, saying, quote, it's notoriously difficult to bring and prosecute a perjury case. You have to show that someone deliberately told an untruth as opposed to them being confused or misremembering. I think it would be a very difficult thing to do. The mention of donating her divorce settlement first came up when Heard appeared on Dutch talk show RTL Late Night in 2018, where she said, quote, $7 million in total was donated. I split it between the ACLU and the Children's Hospital of LA. I wanted nothing. At the time, she made it clear that she had already donated this divorce money. However, ACLU Chief Operating Officer and General Counsel Terrence Dougherty testified earlier in the case that only $1.3 million has either been donated by Heard or on her behalf, with most of it coming from other sources like Elon Musk. Of that money, Heard contributed $350,000 directly in December of 2018, and she's not paid off any more since. A further $100,000 was paid by Depp, and another $350,000 came from a fund at Fidelity, an investment company assumed assumed to be Elon Musk. Depp's team is stating that Heard is a blatant liar who used the claim of donation to gain sympathy from the public. However, Heard has fired back that she intends to donate the money once Johnny Depp stops suing her. Heard is also no stranger to perjuring herself. She was investigated back in 2015 by the FBI for lying about illegally bringing her dogs into Australia. Heard avoided charges after she publicly apologized and blamed a lack of sleep on why she did not fill the required paperwork. We are currently in the midst of the cross-examination of Amber Heard, and it's getting very spicy. Johnny Depp's lawyer Camille Vasquez is taking all the shots she can at Amber to prove that she is a liar and master manipulator, and one of these shots includes accusing Amber of leaking her divorce to TMZ. During the trial, Heard and Vasquez started talking about Heard and Depp's divorce. When asked about it, Heard said that she tried to keep the information on the divorce as private as possible, but she knew that when she filed the paperwork, media outlets would be able to see the public records. However, Depp's attorney had a different view and accused Amber of telling the paparazzi to be there when she filed for divorce, causing a massive news story for that day. The day that Amber did file for divorce, paparazzi were waiting outside the door to talk to her about what happened, almost as if they knew that she was there to file for divorce from Johnny. Vasquez also played a clip of Heard's previous deposition, where she essentially let it slip that she alerted TMZ. In the clip of the deposition, Heard was stating that she tried to warn Depp of the divorce before she filed so that he wouldn't be caught off guard. And she said, quote, "I didn't want him to find out online that I had or was about to file for divorce. I wanted him to know verbally, so I was trying to reach him through a third party to tell him." Continuing, quote, "I would like him to know that information so that he finds out about the divorce filing from some other source other than TMZ, which was alerted." And then in this deposition, Heard covered her own mouth because she realized she had just exposed herself. Vasquez then pressed her about exposing herself, but of course Heard denied telling TMZ about her divorce before she filed. Vasquez also pressed Heard about potentially giving other evidence to TMZ as well, like the video that leaked of Johnny banging up their kitchen. The kitchen video was leaked the day before Heard filed for divorce, and Vasquez asserts that TMZ now owns this clip because Amber sold it to them. Vasquez also questioned Amber Heard on how TMZ could have possibly gotten a hold of a video that was taken on Amber's cell phone, but Amber continued that she did not give the clip to the news outlet. Johnny Depp's psychiatrist has taken the stand during the trial between Depp and ex-wife Amber Heard, and he exposed that Depp did not want to get married to Heard, but she pushed him so hard for it, eventually he gave in to her demands. Let's get into all the details. Depp's psychiatrist, Dr. Alan Blaustein, took to the stand to speak about Depp's behavior and feelings during his relationship with Heard. While on the stand, Dr. Blaustein admitted that Johnny was not sure if he wanted to marry Amber or not. One of Depp's reservations was that he was 51 years old at the time and felt he was too old for the change. He also read a note where Depp described Heard as, quote, "being my mother and psychotic sister," sharing reservations he had with their relationship in general. The psychiatrist claimed that Depp was paranoid during this time and had many issues that were caused by his chaotic relationship. After the shocking testimony, tweets went viral sharing the news. One tweet wrote, quote, "Per his psychiatrist's notes, Johnny Depp did not want to get married to Amber Heard. We have seen from other witnesses that the wedding had been rushed and pushed for by Amber with no prenup." Another tweet read, quote, "Johnny Depp's psychiatrist. He suffered with anxiety and depression. He compared Amber to his abusive mother. He had substances to numb his pain. He tried to leave Amber." Great witness for Amber. During his testimony, Dr. Blaustein shared Depp's issues with substances along with common feelings of rage and jealousy. He stated, quote, "It was a very chaotic relationship and a lot of fluctuations, up and downs. Lots of difficulties, emotional expressions. Lots of anger in both places and high intensity. A lot of love, a lot of disappointment, a lot of fears." The doctor added, quote, "Part of his goal of therapy was to work through the anger that he and his fiancée had towards each other." The doctor met with Depp 18 times between October of 2014 and January of 2015. And he testified that the Pirates actor, quote, "expressed having anger towards Amber and feelings of jealousy." The doctor even shared that Depp had similar feelings of rage and chaos in previous relationships, including with the mother of his children, Vanessa Paradis. Specifically, the former couple had many arguments about child care. The psychiatrist also testified that he and Depp spoke about his abuse as a child and how that affected his adult relationships. During the sessions, Depp did not speak of any physical violence with Heard, but claimed she was, quote, "such a pain in the ass," and his relationship with Amber reminded him of his relationship with his psychotic sister and his mom.
Ironically, she has a little difficulty crying, acting-wise, so...
Amber Heard's acting coach just exposed her for fake crying during the trial, and this could be the final nail in the coffin to anyone supporting her. Let's get into the details. In pre-recorded testimony, acting coach Christina Sexton said Heard had, quote, "difficulty crying acting-wise." Sexton worked with Heard from 2011 to 2017 and said she could tell when Amber Heard was genuinely crying because Amber struggled to produce real tears while acting. In the December 2019 deposition, the acting coach says she saw Amber cry multiple times during their sessions about her volatile relationship with ex Johnny Depp. Apparently, as the couple's relationship progressed and the fighting got heavier, quote, I would have to build in time because she'd be sobbing at the beginning of sessions and we couldn't work until we got her together. Sexton further described their relationship to the court. Apparently, they had more than a professional relationship and became friends over the years. Apparently, Heard even invited her acting coach on birthday trips and vacations. She testified that at the start of Heard and Depp's relationship, she witnessed the couple being, quote, incredibly lovey-dovey and passionate and always together in a positive way. But as time went on, that changed, and she saw Depp and Heard together less, along with hearing them get into arguments while Sexton was there for at-home acting lessons. Sexton added, quote, it went from being like a normal couple to very tension-filled, especially those last few months when they were together. Before her relationship with Depp, Heard was never late for their sessions. However, as time passed and things got worse in their relationship, Sexton claimed she needed to add in cushion time to their sessions because Amber would arrive frazzled or in tears and needed to be calmed down before they could do their acting work. Adding, quote, I would say that last year they were together, probably 80 to 90% of our sessions began with her crying. In her deposition, Sexton said she could tell when Heard's tears were genuine because, quote, ironically she has a little difficulty crying acting-wise. During Amber Heard's testimony, she cried on multiple occasions, or should I say attempted to cry, because most of the time it looked like she made the facial expressions of crying, but the tears did not come out. So many are thinking this testimony from the acting coach proves that Amber has been faking in court, and her strange behavior with crying is due to the fact that Amber is not very good at fake crying. Things are about to get a lot worse for Amber Heard, as an insider just claimed that Warner Bros. Held an emergency meeting to talk about the fate of Amber Heard in Aquaman 2, and spoiler alert, they want her completely gone. Let's get into the details. We already know that all anyone can talk about these days is Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, and the internet has placed their support firmly behind Johnny, with the vast majority of people believing Amber Heard is a manipulative liar. This is not the response that DC was looking for, as the company took a huge gamble including Amber Heard in the sequel for Aquaman, even with petitions at the time calling for her to be removed. As of now, a petition to have her cut from Aquaman 2 has reached a whopping 4 million signatures, and it's clearly making Warner Bros. Executives very concerned. An insider just reported that with all the negative media attention surrounding the trial, Warner Bros. Decided to hold an emergency meeting to discuss what to do about the Amber Heard problem. It's already been stated in court that Amber Heard's role in the film has been cut down dramatically, with her only appearing in roughly 10 minutes of the movie. President of DC Films Walter Hamada took the stand for 3 hours during Heard's trial, where he confirmed that her role in the movie was seriously diminished in the wake of the hatred against her. Heard agreed, saying in court, quote, it was a very pared down version of the part that she was meant to play, claiming that Warner Bros. Didn't want to put her in the movie at all. In court, Heard continued, quote, I fought really hard to stay in the movie, they didn't want to include me in the film. During the deposition, the lawyer asked, quote, were you ultimately able to film in Aquaman 2? Heard replied, a very pared down version of that role, yes. Then the lawyer responded, what if anything changed in the script? Heard continued, quote, I was given a script, then given new versions of the script that had taken away scenes that had action in it, that depicted my character and another character without giving any spoilers away, 2 characters fighting with one another. They basically took a bunch out of my role. They just removed a bunch. As of now, we don't know if the claims made by this insider are true, but I think it's safe to say that DC is definitely having conversations about how they might move forward if Heard is found guilty of lying. And this is not the only problem facing Warner Bros. At this time. Most notably, the franchise is facing immense trouble with the Flash star, Ezra Miller, who seems to be getting arrested in Hawaii like once a month at this point.